welcome to a very, I guess, special edition of the 30-minute pitch. It's our third episode here of the 30-minute pitch on the 5 Reasons Sports Network YouTube channel, brought to you by Dangerous Minds. But before I get into Dangerous Minds, this is actually getting recorded on Wednesday night. I know you're seeing it on Thursday morning or sometime after, but I am in Atlanta right now in my hotel room, not my normal room background. Just came back from Mercedes-Benz Stadium where Inter Miami took on Atlanta. We'll talk about that later. But thanks for tuning in. And obviously, we have to start off our show, as always, with a great thank you to Dangerous Minds, who is making this possible. Dangerous Minds is a brewing company out in Pompano Beach, located at the City Center. Great beer, great pizza, great atmosphere, live music on the weekends and on Wednesday nights. They have events going on all the time. Make sure you go check them out. They do a phenomenal job. I can't stress it enough. Of providing really good stuff there. You can see the pizza on the screen now. The one that I go for is the pepperoni and sausage. I'm not too much of I don't go too far out of my comfort zone when it comes to food, but there is some phenomenal stuff that you can see here on the menu. There's something for everybody, absolutely. And they got great appetizers as well. And if you go over to the beer there for me, they have a ton of craft beers that they make right in store. You can get a load of them. You can have little sample tries. You can have if you like a sample try, you can get a big one. They do a great job over at Dangerous Minds. And I know that Adam, the man who runs the show over there, or one of the men who run the show over there, sent me a text earlier this week. And man, he is a Liverpool fan. And if you know me, if you know the show by now, I am a Manchester United fan, and this is where we're going to start off the show. Liverpool took on Manchester United at Old Trafford on Sunday, and if you are anywhere in the soccer scene, if you're watching this show, you know what happened. It was an absolute beatdown of Manchester United by Liverpool in Manchester, in Old Trafford. And that's why you see the title of the show, European Coaching Carousel. Not that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been sacked at the moment. From when I'm recording this at 11:32, it says on Wednesday night, he's still the manager, and I believe he probably still will be the manager going into the weekend, but it's not looking good. A lot of tough results. He's got a lot of tough games coming up. Tottenham, Atalanta again. City might be in there at some point. It's going to be rough for Ole going forward, and this match against Liverpool at home is the closest thing it's ever felt to a final straw for Ole. And I'm not one to call for managers getting fired. I'm not one to call for people losing their jobs. But this is one situation that's heating up, it seems like, every single second. And especially with managers like Antonio Conte without a job, you have to start questioning when a move is made or if a move is made. But that 5-0 was a very disappointing result for me, myself, and all Manchester United fans. But, I mean, all the credit really to Liverpool. They look like one of the, if not the strongest side in Europe. When healthy, they have honestly just blown past a ton of opponents. They have multiple 3-goal wins in the Premier League already. They're doing really well in the Champions League in their group. And it looks like Liverpool are definitely going to challenge for the Premier League title. It looks like they're going to challenge for the Champions League title again. Getting Van Dijk back fit this season, and a lot of the other players who were out, Salah's probably in the best form of his life, and that's crazy to say considering what he's done the last 3-4 years in the Premier League, scoring I don't even know how many goals, but it's been a ridiculous number. So yeah, Liverpool's got a really strong squad, and it was really, really good for them to get that win against Man United. And for Man United, it wasn't so good, but it was also a reality check. And I can go into the details of into the game, and we can talk about the Ronaldo not pressing and leaving a lot of strain on Fred and McTominay, and the back line without Varane, Maguire, and Lindelof look lost, and Wan-Bissaka. But I'm not going to do that. It's a lost cause at this point. But if Ole is to go, if Ole is to get the sack, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like Antonio Conte steps into that role. I know that there's been talks about it, but nothing is confirmed at 11:34 p.m. on Wednesday night, October 27th. But don't quote me on that. We'll see what happens going forward. But if Antonio Conte is available at some point when Ole is sacked, that means he did not take the Barcelona job. And recently, this was actually just today, after Barcelona's 1-0 loss to 2021 Radamel Falcao, which is the craziest thing. Falcao sacked Barcelona's manager. FC Barcelona were sacked by 2021 Falcao in a 1-0 loss. Shocking. I mean, it is absolutely shocking. Ronald Koeman, I mean, it wasn't a long tenure for him, but Barcelona were not on track to where they should be, where they can be. And this is even after losing Messi. Obviously, that was always going to be tough. But when you look at the table and how low they sit, this was one of their games in hand. They just came off a Clásico loss as well. I know Manny's back there cheering about that. It's tough times. And I'm looking at some of the players that are on the roster and some of the talent they have. It's a lot of young talent that still needs to be developed. But at the same time, when you take an FC Barcelona job or a job of that caliber, you have to perform. You have to perform at any standard, any metric. And Ronald Koeman has not done that. And it might translate over to the Champions League, where they've struggled as well. And if they don't do it in the Champions League, they don't do it in La Liga, there's no reason people are going to want Ronald Koeman to be taking this team forward. And now they're looking at somebody like Xavi to come in, who's coaching out in Qatar still at some point, which could be a disaster class in my opinion. But I think that if Xavi does come over, you don't want to like taint any kind of legacy or anything like that with what he's done with the club as a player. Of course, if you bring him over, he's not a proven manager. You can look at, I mean, it's a little different, but when you look at the Ole situation, Ole had the winner in 1999 Champions League, and Ole's a club legend, if you want to call him that. And this is not necessarily tainting his legacy, but it's pulling fans' heartstrings back and forth. The same thing might happen with Xavi, an inexperienced manager who, yes, was a genius on the pitch and did great things for Barcelona, but that doesn't always translate well. Manny, I know you're in here. Let me go to it.
I mean, listen, I'm not gonna put on my Madrista hat. I'm just gonna look at it as a club like Barcelona. Like, these type of struggles are not very they're not very, I'm trying to figure out a word. I guess normal, right? I mean, listen, I get it. Their club is going through that. Their club is going through a major transition where the guy that was looked at as player, star, hero, like basically what they looked forward to every weekend, all of a sudden signed the contract and now he's not there, right? So now you're asking a manager like Ronald Koeman to try to somehow re-inject Barcelona with youngsters, right? So you give him the pie, but then you kind of leave Busquets in there and you say, hey, Busquets, train Pedri, get other, we're going to bring other people. If there's any player that I think that can actually grow and actually perform well, which to me, I mean, personally, maybe not the way that a lot of Barcelona fans want, but Sergio Dest to me has actually grown up a little bit, right?
Let me say this too.
And me knowing you, right? You're a huge Team USA guy. For you, it should be, wow, like, he actually, listen, besides a couple bad plays against Real Madrid, he actually played pretty well. Almost had the tying goal where the shot was this much close of, maybe going in. But it's not easy to become a head coach at Barcelona and say, hey, you don't have Messi anymore. Tell me what. It's not easy. Like today, they outshot who they play, Rayo. Falcao got the goal early, but in all sense, like, Aguero missed an opportunity. Gabby came off the bench, missed an opportunity. It's not all on the coach, man. And when Carlos Ancelotti comes out in his defense, they listen. Barca fans are just they've been going through a tough transition, man. Like, really difficult.
Another young player that I'll say that I think has a pretty bright future is the Uruguayan center back, Araujo. He's pretty class. I think that he has a future, but at the same time, it's tough for a manager like Ronald Koeman in that position to think, okay, when I take the job, can you imagine the number one player almost in history? If you want to say that, you can, but if you want to take him away and say, all right, here's a bunch of youth, develop them and start getting results right away, all at the same time, it's almost an impossible job. And I'm not saying that Koeman. I don't know if I would say Koeman deserved more time or more chances, but in a job of that high caliber, that much pressure. You have to get results, and you're not getting results. It's at the end of the day, it's never going to work out for anybody until they lower their standards a little bit and understand what the club really is at the moment with the debt going on and the players they have right now. You have to lower your standards a little bit and understand that you have to take a new path. You have to take a new look at what Barcelona is going to be for the next couple of years and say, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to build. Is it inject a bunch of money and try and bring superstars, or is it take this young talent, players that we've talked about, and bring them up through the ranks? It can go either way.
But what money are you going to inject if you're in debt? I mean, you barely could pay Aguero and company, right? So
right.
now,
but they're always going to find a way. There's no matter what, they're always going to find a way.
But listen, though, if there was a way to bring better talent, then why not do that already then? Right? You basically told Koeman you need to have 9 points out of 4 or 5 games. And if you lose a Clásico and if you don't have a great performance in the Champions League, well, then you're gone. I think that's unfair, man. Listen, this whole idea of, we should just fire him because we want Xavi, our savior, to come back. You think that's going to fix anything?
It's not.
Bro, Busquets is going to be on the side looking at his idol. Let's be honest here, because them two were some of the greatest that I've ever seen that played that position. He's going to be looking at him and like, you sure you want to come here? I get it. It's your home. It's your dream job. But it's tough sledding nowadays.
Yeah.
Listen, firing a high-quality manager to hire an old player that is basically, not like in the same level as Messi, but he's from there more, right? He's from, as we say in Spanish, el barrio. He's from the neighborhood, so he's gonna understand the pressure from the fans. He's gonna understand the pressure of being that type of manager. But if you're expecting Xavi to come in here and all of a sudden create magic and start putting points on you on the board, I just don't.
Let me ask you this.
You're absolutely right, though, Austin. The visualization and the goal should be, listen, if our goal is to get these young players in the system and give them time to grow and let them become the next generation.
And I think that they've already started that. I think, didn't they extend both Pedri and Ansu Fati and put like $1 billion release clauses on them? So like it's kind of like
that. Piqué's still there.
Yeah.
Busquets is still there.
Luke de Jong and Depay are Aguero. That's not. Those aren't players that are going to get you results in La Liga. It's not going to happen.
No, it's too many matches for them. It's too many matches. You are going to run Memphis Depay out of legs if you keep starting him every single game. Like, I get it. Koen was a sexy name, but this is not the Kun Aguero 5-6 years ago at Manchester City. Like, let's not kid ourselves.
And he couldn't even do it. He couldn't do it City in the last 2 years.
Yeah. And this was my same issue that I had with Zizou last year. He would play the shit out of Benzema, excuse my English. He would play the crap out of Benzema, but I'm like, bro, let Vinicius in there. Let Rodrigo in there. They're young legs. And I think that's what Carlos Ancelotti finally figured out. Listen, whatever. Benzema, you're going to stay in there, but I'm going to have the wingers now just run and run and run. And I feel like, in a sense, the next manager at Barcelona has to say that, you know what? Let the youngsters get in there and let them play as much as they can. Because right now, you're 10th in La Liga on the table. You're basically on the verge of making Europa. So that's not good either. But it could.
That's if they get to that point. Like, if Xavi comes in, are we really expecting Xavi to lead this team to European?
That's my point.
European spot. And
Xavi's not bringing in another Messi with him, right? He's just bringing in more. He's bringing more calmness, I guess, for the fans, right? Because right now it's panic mode. Okay?
Is Xavi going to get a little more leeway from the fans, though, because
Absolutely.
he is Xavi? Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So it's
the fans can relate with Xavi. Fans couldn't relate to Ronald. You know what I mean? But again, I think Ronald was given a difficult job and a difficult time. Okay. Again, you just lost Messi.
I know. You should have relaxed a little bit.
It's like us when Ronaldo left. It took us a couple of months to be able to start playing again and trying to figure out, wait a minute, like, we're actually Real Madrid, right? Like, we're not just about one player, but it's not the same. Real went and signed Ronaldo, right? Barcelona have had Messi
always,
man. It's just those type of players create such an impact on the city. And then when you start off like this, especially when you lose to Atletico Madrid, you go ahead and you lose against Real. Your performances in the Champions League has not been at least even standard up to this particular moment. I get it. The pressure is on Koeman to perform, but let's be clear here. You've given Koeman basically, rotten eggs and told him, hey, I need you to make me a nice scramble, freaking thing. And it's like, it's not going to work that way because he's bringing in these youngsters and you can't expect youngsters to grow in just a couple of months. And
it hurts also to lose a player like Griezmann as well with all the ways just being.
Yeah, but I'll be honest with you. Griezmann to me never.
Okay, but here's the thing: if you put
Griezmann should have never really left Real Sociedad. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought he could have become a club legend there. I would have, what Barcelona should have never. What Barcelona should have never argued with was Luis Suarez, man. Okay, Luis Suarez. As much as people might say, damn, man, he's an idiot and crazy, I think he had a little bit more of a Barcelona heart the last couple of years than Messi did. Messi was kind of just there, and he was being comfortable. But to Luis Suarez, to me, though, carried this team for a long, long time, especially after Neymar left. Okay? And then Luis goes to Atletico, and they win the damn La Liga. I mean,
Suarez honestly is going to go down as one of the most underrated strikers in history. I mean, but I think I look at this roster and like you said, I mean, Koeman is not necessarily given rotten eggs, but if you throw Messi onto this roster, do they challenge for La Liga? Do they challenge for the Champions League with Koeman at the helm? Like, I don't think so. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Obviously, Messi changes the whole dynamic, and I think that obviously, yes, that he makes them a better team. That's undoubted. Like, Messi will take this team to another level, but are they going to be on the level with the teams that are at the top of the table or their Champions League group? Are they going to be sitting in third place still? Are they going to be in the second or first spot in their group? I don't know how much Messi changes things. And look, and another thing too, if Depay makes the penalty tonight against Real, is Koeman still in a job? Is Koeman still in a job because he didn't lose? They just got a point. Like
if Sergio Dest ends up not airballing the ball in the first half, and it becomes 1-0 Barcelona in the 25th minute, who knows if even the Alaba goal even occurs, right? Yeah. I mean, again, it's a game of inches, right? Yeah. But to answer your question real quick, I don't think it would have worked because Messi needs that particular manager that's going to give him freedom. Messi's that particular manager. It's like saying when MJ, he was with Doug Collins, and Doug Collins basically said, hey, MJ, the ball is in your hands. And then Phil comes in and goes, no, MJ, the ball doesn't have to be in your hands all the time. Let others get it to you. Mm-hmm. And guess what? That's what ends up happening. They win freaking 5-6 championships, right? So I think with Messi was, he did great with Pep because Pep's about possession. And if, at some point here, Messi, that you're going to be the guy that drive it from the beginning into the end. Right. Koeman's game plan is get it out on the wing, create the space, let the others try to, mix and match. It's a Dutch game. Messi's not going to stay there to play a Dutch game, right? But what Messi really needed, and it pains me to say this, was a Gallardo, like from River Plate. And I know that's a name that people have been thinking about. And the first thing that people think about as well was that old Boca manager. I forgot his name. He was really, really good. He won lots of titles. He was bald, kind of old, moved over to Europe, and he absolutely just trashed whatever club he had.
Oh, my God. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, I cannot remember his name. But I think Gallardo has been in River Plate such a long time, bro. He's faced adversity. He's won titles. He's just he's a Latin manager. And I think that is what Barcelona is probably missing, is that once again, that attitude type, not that European style, because frankly, listen, unless your players, you change up, the style of play that you want, tactically speaking, it's not going to function. And Barcelona has tried to stay in the same thing with Busquets in the middle and Piqué in the back. And it's like, no, at some point you got to evolve, right? And it pained me to see Sergio Ramos leave, right? It pained me to see Ronaldo move on, and now Gareth Bale nowhere to be found. But Florentino knew listen, I need to go out there and find the next two center backs, okay? And he brought Alaba in, which I didn't think he was going to become a center back. It's quite clear that the center back position in Real Madrid is Alaba and Militao, right? And then he realized, wait a minute, Casemiro's not going to be able to play every game. Modric was put on the bench today because of a leg injury or like a muscle thing or whatever the case is. What do? They grab a youngster, Cavanega, from France. Youngster started today. He's 18, 19 years old. Why is Barcelona deciding to do the way they've been doing things? And I feel like, again, because they were shocked that Messi did not stay. They weren't prepared for that.
No, I don't think. And I guess the fair question is, how do you prepare for something like that? You can't. It's tough to do. You can't. But you can recover, and you can recover like Real Madrid has. But Barcelona did not do that in the last 6-7 months since not 6-7. It was only been a couple. Not even that long. It's not even been that long. It's been a couple months.
No. Also, I think that a lot of Spanish clubs have gotten a little bit better tactically. Like today. Real drew against Osasuna, but for the whole damn game, they had all 11 in the back, and Osasuna had about 4 or 5 counters. And let's be honest, if I'm being honest, they could have scored on one, and we probably could have lost 1-0. They hit the post twice. So teams in those teams that you really don't see, but the Granadas, the Osasunas, the Real Sociedad, like they're becoming a little bit more involved in knowing how to beat top clubs like Real Madrid and Barcelona that love to outpossess you, right? Okay, you want to outpossess us? We're going to put 11 in the back. We're going to get 2 speedsters up front that once they get 3 passes in a row, they can beat you 1-on-1. And I think, listen, it's quite clear how the game is going, and the only one that's able to be the only team that last year was able to counter that was Atletico.
Yep.
And man,
they can bunker in themselves. They can absorb pressure. Themselves. So they can absorb pressure. So looking at wow. Yeah, Betis is another one too. Yeah, I know they have a couple of really good players, but I know Nabil Fekir has been pretty good for them. Sociedad. There's Rayo who beat Barcelona today. Osasuna, you see there, Bilbao, and teams with talent like Valencia and Villarreal, who are sitting in 13th and 11th, are always going to creep up at some point because of just the talent that they have.
Look at Celta at 14. You know that at some point they're going to climb up. Granada? Are you kidding me? Granada finished top 4 or something, right, last year and made the Champions League or like whatever.
Europa League, I think they made.
Or the Europa League. You know what I mean? So I'm telling you, like this, a lot of people don't probably watch a lot of La Liga. I sure do, because it's always intriguing to see which new clubs from the bottom of last season that barely made it, their owners put money into this, right?
Mallorca is another one. Mallorca, they came up 2 years ago. Up 2 years ago, struggled last year. Now they're sitting there in 12th and not too far behind on points to move up the table. Obviously, it's still early on, but that's another club as well that they can. I think it was 2 years ago when they got promoted and they struggled with the relegation battle. They got up, they stayed, and then now they're trying to solidify themselves. It reminds me of almost Leeds United in the Premier League. But anyway, yeah, you actually mentioned the name that I hadn't heard in a while, but it makes sense. Marcelo Gallardo, the guy who was rumored to come to Inter Miami
bro, don't do that.
In the beginning, in 2020, Marcelo Gallardo was number 1 on the hit list before Diego Alonso. I don't know where Diego Alonso was on the hit list, but they did not land Marcelo Gallardo, and now we're all the way on to Phil Neville in 2021. And tonight, Inter Miami took on Atlanta United here in Atlanta, where I am right now. Just left Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and it didn't go so well. So the last 2 games,
Inter finally eliminated.
Kind of. They have to. It's ridiculous what they have to do. So basically, they're in like 10th or 11th or something. The teams above are like only 1 or 2 points above, but the team that's in 7th, the final playoff spot, DC United, have 44 points, right? And right now, Inter Miami have 38, but the goal differential is like an 18 difference. I think DC United have +2 and Miami have -16, if I'm looking at that right. Yeah, so I got that right on the money. All right, cool. So basically, DC United cannot get another point. They have to lose out. New York Red Bulls, Montreal, and Columbus cannot exceed 44 points. And then Inter Miami have to win their next 2 games by at least 19 goals if DC United are to not score. So let's just say that that's not going to happen.
19 goals?
It's not. Well, actually, it'd be a little less than that because if DC United are to lose, it'd have to be by one and by one. So we'll say 18. They have to win by 18 goals. If it's or 17, it's a ridiculous number. That's not going to happen. They take on NYCFC at home on Saturday. It's like a 1:30 kickoff. But the match tonight, I just want to speak some quick words on it. The last two matches that Inter Miami played before this Atlanta game went really well for them. Yes, they were playing Toronto, and yes, they were playing Cincinnati, who you literally can't even see on the screen right now. That's how far down the table they are. They're playing the two worst teams in the Eastern Conference, and they won by hefty margins. And a lot of people were saying that, and they were right to be saying, by the way, that it was this shift in formation that Phil Neville put out, 4-2-3-1, putting in Federico in behind his brother Gonzalo, and the offense was generating a lot, and yada yada yada. Tonight against Atlanta United, Phil Neville shifts the formation back to a 5 at the back, the one that has been consistently inconsistent through the middle part of this year. And I'll say this. He started off with a 5 at the back, and people weren't happy, and I understand that. Federico didn't play, but you have to remember that Federico Higuain turned 37 years old on Monday. He's not going to be able to go 90 minutes, 3 games in a row, 3 games in 7 days. It's just not going to happen. The shift at the back was basically all because of what happened in the last Atlanta match that happened about a month ago. I think it was September 29th. Miami and Atlanta were going back and forth. The game was open, and it looked like Miami were necessarily the better team, but they weren't really fazed by Atlanta. And the only reason Atlanta won the game was because of the LGP handball that wasn't actually a handball after MLS came back and told the club that it wasn't a handball. That's why they won. It was off a penalty. And Phil Neville wanted to build off those tactics. In my opinion, this is not reporting. I'm just saying. I think Phil Neville wanted to build off of those tactics. And I think that he actually got, for the most part, it right tonight. In the first half, there were chances on chances on chances for Inter Miami. Even in the beginning of the second half, they did score a goal. It was a Gonzalo Higuain penalty after Brad Guzan completely took out Lewis Morgan in the box. And if they were to score 2, maybe a third, could have been 2. Let's say it's 2-0 at half. It's looking a lot better than it does. But at 1-0, it wasn't the 5 at the back formation that changed things for me. It was them still not being able to execute in the final third. And Phil Neville said this in the press conference that the big players are not scoring goals. The big players are not doing what they're here to do, and they need to be more ruthless. They need to find the back of the net, and they haven't done that. And you look at the other team, and their 2 goal scorers, their DPs, Joseph Martinez, and their new Brazilian Araujo. They go ahead and get the second half goals tonight. They make it 2-1. Phil Neville ends up throwing in the kitchen sink, and it just doesn't work for him. It's a rough one to take in. Just a quick little rundown. Araujo scored off a free kick. He beat Barsman and the wall by going under them. And then Joseph Martinez ended up scoring the second goal after it was 1-1. Miami knew that they needed a win. So Phil Neville subbed on Robbie Robinson and Federico Higuain, switched to a 4-2-3-1, left McCoon and LGP as the center backs, and they got beat literally within a minute through ball. Araujo put it in. Joseph Martinez was 1-on-1 with Dick Marsman. You know exactly how that's going to go. So that was the final goal. Miami couldn't execute their chances. There were times throughout the end of the game where they could have made it 2-2, made this playoff situation look a little better, but they didn't. And now, basically, all eyes are focused on next year. For anybody who says that they want Phil Neville out, I'm sorry, but it's probably not going to happen. And I'm not really going to state my opinion on this. Like I said earlier in the show, talking about Ole, I'm not one to call for managers being fired or anything like that, or people losing their jobs in general. But I'm just stating what I think may be fact, is that Phil Neville's not going to lose this job. He's here for the long term. He's building not only the first team, but even helping out with the younger guys. You've seen Mabika come up. You've seen Kona get minutes. You got people coming back on loan from USL sides that he's going to build off of. So with the sanctions coming in, you don't want to bring a new manager in because they don't know what they're about to deal with. Phil Neville has some idea what this roster is at the moment, and if he can build off of it, knowing his sanction limitations and his roster limitations because of the Matuidi investigation, you let him do it. Like I said, I am not saying I'm Phil Neville in or Phil Neville out, but I will say this. With Diego Alonso, I thought that he should have gotten a second year. I thought there were times where Diego Alonso showed signs of light, and I thought that there were times where I thought Diego Alonso could have been the man for the job. And at the end of the day, he didn't get time to build a roster. He didn't build this roster in 2020. He didn't build a roster in 2020. It was built before he was even an idea. Part of it was built before Diego Alonso probably ever got a phone call to become Inter Miami's manager. And so that's speculation, by the way, not reporting. It's a tough situation. It hurts a little bit, especially being there. It was tough to watch. And I mean, I just think that you look on to next year and you say, if we can get rid of some guys, we can bring in some young guys, bring in some talent, maximize your roster value. You know, it's got to be about the youth, bringing up players from the academy, maybe signing a player like Jean Mota from Brazil. Players like that are going to win games. Not the Gonzalo Higuains, not I guess even the Pizarros, the Matuidis. They haven't worked out. You have to understand they haven't worked out. And at some point, they're going to be able to move on past it. And when they do, you'll see the light of day. And Miami hopefully can move forward in a better direction. But for now, that's just how it is.
You know, I just hope that this club finally realizes that just because you sign Higuain and Matuidi and Pizarro, you think you're going to win. That's not really it. This league is all about being able to play at a consistent level. And it's quite clear that the player with these legs kind of showed you that at times they could play 45 minutes. That's about it. And that at times when you leave them an extra 5-10 minutes, they can be very bad on the pitch that the other team can go the other way and get a score on you. I would say this. I think we do have a goalkeeper for the future. I do love this man. I don't want him to leave. He just got married. Let's make sure David Beckham that he ends up being the guy for us for a little bit.
They will.
When you look at that back line, I mean,
LGP and Figal can go. Honestly, LGP and Figal can go.
If you have the opportunity to get somebody a little bit younger, and
they're gonna. Have you watched? I mean, the what was it? Was it the Cincinnati game and the Red Bulls game before that? 2 games or 3 goes. They brought in Mabika from Fort Lauderdale CF.
Mm-hmm.
Mabika, 6'6", tall. They drafted him. Looks like a guy who honestly, I'm looking at the back line from the Cincinnati match. And I'm looking at the back line from this match. Makun and Mabika next to each other by themselves look more composed than LGP and Figal did tonight next to Makun in the back three. They did. It's shocking. And both of those guys combined are making $1.7 million in salary, while Makun's making probably $145K. Mabika is going to be on a rookie deal still because he just got drafted. This is what I'm saying. You have to maximize value with young talent going into a year where you're getting sanctions. Your roster salary is going to be cut down. Bringing in young players is going to help, and they're on track to do that. Phil Neville, Darren Powell, the Fort Lauderdale CF manager, and the academy guys are building players now for the future, and you're going to see that going into next season.
Yeah, I mean, listen, from the midfield, you can keep Gregory. I don't mind him being my captain.
No, I think he's
I just
awesome.
feel like at times the connection between him and Matuidi and others in the middle just wasn't there.
Well, Matuidi, you can't play with anybody at this point.
You did see it flourish for a little bit, but in important games where you needed to actually maintain that position going forward, it wasn't there. And then you move on to the forwards. I mean, I've seen enough Carranza. I've seen enough Higuain. I've seen enough of Morgan. I'm sorry.
That's a hot take.
I really want to say that it was the tactical thing that maybe did it for Morgan, because we saw
bringing him down was,
bringing him down and not being able him to go up to create that space like he did last season.
Right.
Just go at the player instead of having so many crosses. But listen, like, it is what it is, with these fines that we kind of spoke about, like, what was it, like maybe 2 months ago or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just part of the things that again, as it's like I said, hopefully you learn from this. And just because you signed top players that were once top players, not yesterday, the Higuain, the Matuidi, and the Pizarro, you go young, because at least we would know that the youngsters really have something to prove, and there's competition, right? When you bring in a player like Matuidi, you really think he's going to be worried about getting overly started by somebody else? No. You think Higuain was worried that he was going to get benched for a Robbie Robinson that got called to Chile and decided to just fly back because he was actually scared of playing Brazil? No, man. You want to have players here that want to be here, want to compete, and want to say, you know what? I'm here. Let me make the best of my capabilities. Because you see clubs like Columbus that came out of nowhere and won the cup. You see Atlanta still, which I don't think another team like Atlanta is going to do what they did. I kind of think of it as like a Leicester City that won the Premier League a couple of years ago. It's like, when is that going to happen again? No, that's not happen again.
But that's a thing too. You have to remember, Inter Miami are in their second year. Atlanta United came into the league and they won basically right away, and they set this precedent for expansion clubs that is so far from reality that now everybody has these expectations on expansion teams. That's not how it happens. It's not normal. You have to look at a team like Vancouver.
But Austin, it is frustrating though when your club is top 3, right, in payroll.
That's true.
Right. Okay. So you might tell yourself, hey, we're new. But then you look at the money spent and you're like, I get it, but you shouldn't be bottom 3, bottom 4.
Right, which is fair.
Technically speaking, you shouldn't be that far off.
It's
like Inter Miami tonight should be battling, at the very least, when I look at this again, at the very least, let me go back here real quick. Because I'm sorry, listen, I get it. New England was, whoa, Jesus.
It's the best team in history.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Jesus, if they had another 3-4 games, they probably could eclipse 100 points, okay? Listen, when you look at it, 11th, Inter Miami should be in the 3 through 6 range. If you have to see it on paper.
Yeah,
on paper. Be in 11th.
That's the thing. Paper it hasn't translated for Miami on the field, not from the record books, not from what individual talent they have. It's not worked out. And it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. And next year, hopefully Manny and I get our wishes and they go younger, they maximize roster value, and we get to see some exciting young talent.
They go younger. At least we know that they're going to be battling for 90 minutes. It's not going to be that they're up 1-0 and they're satisfied, and then whoever's playing us go and get another corner kick goal, and they go get another goal. That's like, what? How did that happen? Oh, okay. Higuain lost possession in midfield. Okay. I'm being honest here, though, man. It's like all these turnovers that the other team scored the other way was because we were so damn undisciplined with the ball at midfield.
And I think that's why you're going to see a lot of changes. It's going to happen. I think that.
But it cannot be the coach. I totally agree with you.
It's not the coach.
I still don't like how they did Alonso, man.
I don't like how they did Alonso either. But you can't go to 3 coaches in 3 years.
You can't.
It looks so bad.
You're looking like a club that's unstable.
Right.
And a lot would say, well, you're unstable right now because you just got fined.
So. Yeah, well, you don't want to make it worse, right? I don't know. It's a lot to deal with and a lot to take in, but we'll see what happens in the offseason. We'll be covering it here on the 30-minute pitch all throughout December, January, because now we know they're not playing in November anymore, or they have 1 game in November and no playoffs. Don't have to travel to Nashville and lose 3-0 like I did last year. And then, going on past that, December, January, February, they'll have transfer window. Some players will be brought in, and some players will be leaving. You can mark my words on that. I'm not going to say who, but there will be players leaving. Absolutely. And maybe some high-profile ones, but we'll see. But with that said, like I said, the 30-minute pitch every Thursday, 5 Region Sports Network. It is getting late here, and you guys are watching this Thursday morning bright and early with your coffee. Me and Manny have just gone through a whole day's of work. He was with the Panthers. I was with Inter Miami.
By the way, real quick shout out. Thank you, Carly Lloyd.
Yes.
Thank you for everything you did for this beautiful game, for all the young children's heart that you touched. I know me having a daughter, hopefully one day she rolls a ball on the ground, and you are basically, I am certain of this because she said it yesterday. She still wants to be a part of this game. So I'm hoping that she could become that ambassador of the women's game, right? Because again, let's be clear here. The U.S. men has not given us anything in a while to celebrate. Yes, they won the Gold Cup finally, but before that, they haven't done it in a while. Anybody that's watched Team USA soccer, when it comes to the women's side, they went through a little bit without winning anything. They lose to, Brazil in the semifinals, and then all of a sudden the run is on. They make the final and they lose to Japan, but then they won back-to-back World Cups and they won the Olympics, and those are things that should give you kind of an inspiration of life. Like if you go down, you get your ass back up and you can keep going forward. And I think Carly Lloyd was a perfect leader when it came to that. It's kind of sad to see her leave, or at least stop playing, because it just feels like it happened yesterday. Like, I'm 33, right? And it feels like, damn, how long was she playing? Like over 10 years for Team USA? It's just, wow. Yeah. It's just one of those. And then I'm thinking, man, I wonder if any of the men's players, right? Because when I was young, it was Brian McBride, it was Eddie Jones, it was Kobe Jones, it was Lassiter, it was Casey Keller. I can't really remember any names, maybe besides Clinton Dempsey,
Landon Donovan, maybe.
Landon Donovan, especially. How the hell did I forget him? Listen, I still remember go USA against Algeria.
USA.
Thank you, Carly, for everything you did for the game, man. And looking forward to see what you do more for this sport.
Yeah, I know absolutely she'll be a part of the federation and hopefully trying to inspire, any young females who are trying to get into the game. I mean, it's a growing sport, and it's all about inclusivity, and I think that Carly Lloyd is, like you said,
equal pay, baby.
And that too. That is still a fight that's going on, which is really unfortunate, but we hope to see something transpire in that battle, and hopefully Carly Lloyd can be one of those figures that helps. She was a phenomenal figure. I put her on the I mean, I think she's probably up there greatest ever. But I remember growing up, Abby Wambach was there. Mia Hamm. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different just inspirational figures, man. Like it's insane to see.
They let Rapinoe and Morgan also leave. That's going to be a shocker.
That's another one. Yeah,
they all came together. Right, and they all had a goal in place, and they did it quite, and they accomplished a lot.
More than
people time realize. Where the U.S. Men's Federation was not great. They actually gave a lot of soccer fans in this country something to watch and something to cheer for. Right. Yeah. So, by the way, another quick thing. Congrats to my friend who's a West Ham fan. I know they beat Manchester City today.
Yeah, and guess who was in goal?
First time in 6 seasons that Manchester City is knocked out of this. What is this tournament called?
The Carabao Cup. It's the League Cup. Yeah. They
what is it? Go Hammers, right? I don't even know. There's so many damn names. So many names in England, by the way.
Look at you. Moving from La Liga to the Prem.
Listen, though, I have no issues with Prem. The only issues I have with Prem is when, sorry, Liverpool fans, but you guys get too annoying, man. Just get too much. You guys won the league for the first time after 50 years. You won a Champions League after 10, 15 years, and you guys think that you're Real Madrid walking around with fucking double-digit Champions Leagues. And
every Premier League fan base could be awful. Let me just say that. And I think honestly,
I have a theory on why the Miami Dolphins lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Because it was in London?
Because they played in the damn Tottenham Stadium, okay? Tottenham doesn't win anything, bro. It doesn't win anything. If the Dolphins would have played at Wembley, they would have won, man.
I was going to say, they didn't play at Wembley?
No, they played in Tottenham Stadium.
Oh, I mean, it's a nice stadium. I can't lie, but.
Yeah, nice stadium that's never going to see trophies, man. Have you seen that?
Empty trophy cabinets all the way around.
Have you seen that? To dare is to do. No, sir. To dare is to lose, right? There's no ways about it, bro. I'm sorry. Like, geez, dude, like, go back to being Under Armour, man. How the hell are you Nike, dude? Sorry.
All right, it's 12:15. We are going to log off, but before I do that, let me say another thank you to Dangerous Minds Brewing Company. Make sure you go check them out. And I need to announce, by the way, and I haven't even done this yet. I mentioned it. November 2nd, the Miami Heat are going to play the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas, and Dangerous Minds is the place to be to watch that game. I believe it's a Tuesday night. So make sure we're going to bring the 5 Reasons crew along. And if you go, make sure you mention 5 Reasons. November 2nd, Miami Heat watch party at Dangerous Minds. We'll be promoting all over social media, so look out. You can get some of the great pizza you see in front of you while you watch the game. The Heat had a great win tonight over the Nets. PJ Tucker had a phenomenal performance that I heard of. They look like a good team again. They look like a good team that could make that finals push, hopefully. I'm not the biggest basketball guy, but I'm hoping that can happen after last year. They get swept in the playoffs, I think. We can't have that. But like I said, Dangerous Minds, November 2nd, Heat at the Mavs, watch party with the 5 Reasons crew. I'll be there. Ethan Skolnick's going to be there. Located in the Pompano City Center, by the way, North Broward-ish area. Make sure you come out and support. Mention the 30-minute pinch. Mention 5 Reasons. And, it helps us out a ton. It will help them out a ton, and they're helping us a ton. So we would love to give that back to them and share some love. So thank you again to the people at Dangerous Minds. Adam, congratulations on your 5-0 win over my club. I have to say it. It's unfortunate, but you deserve all the props. That's it for the 30-minute pitch. This went about 46 minutes. It's 12:15, and we're going to head out, and I'm going to go to sleep. See you guys next time.